Ryan Dowd often meets people on the worst days of their lives. But after they gain stability with the help of Hesed House, he's proud to say he sees those people on the best days of their lives. Dowd, the executive director of the homeless shelter, has spent nearly half of his life striving to keep a roof over each person and family in the community. I'll take a look at the organization he helped build and find out where Dowd will continue to serve after he says goodbye to Hesed House this August.
If you want to donate.
Ryan Dowd first walked into Hesed House at age 13. The new volunteer had one thing in mind, and it wasn't exactly serving food to the homeless. But he soon found out why fate had brought him there.
I literally started volunteering in a homeless shelter at 13 to try to find a date. Was not successful. None of the girls would date me, but I did fall in love with what Hesed House was doing, and so volunteered in junior high school, in college, and then started working here my senior year of college.
Little did he know at that time, the organization would become his workplace, and sometimes a place to stay the night. Dowd is now the executive director, and much of his day consists of hiring new staff, fundraising, giving speeches, and working with the community. But he says his favorite part of the day is in the morning when he walks from his car into the building.
I've got memories of people stopping me in the parking lot to tell me that they just got a job at Caterpillar. Or the grandmother who was caring for two grandchildren but then came down with cancer and had to figure out how could she make sure that they were taken care of after she lost the battle with cancer. And so it's those real extremes that we focus on here.
Thanks to the services provided to people in their transitional housing program, these success stories are possible. Dowd gets to know almost every guest of Hesed House, like Benny Ramos, who called the shelter on the worst day of her life. With the last dollar in her pocket, she and her children were welcomed into their transitional housing program to live, but she soon got back on her feet with their help.
They were able to help me to get this apartment for me and my children. And I tell you, without them, I'm very grateful. I'm very, very grateful. And I don't want to ever be where me and my children were before. But like I said, you never know. You absolutely never know, because you can have everything in your hands and it could be gone.
The day she got back out on her own was the best day of her life, and it was only possible because she took advantage of what they had to offer.
Hesed House is a one-stop shop, a comprehensive homeless resource center is what we call it. So the idea is that anything a homeless person needs, food, shelter, counseling, job training, whatever, we have it here.
It's not only full-time staff members that make the homeless shelter run. It's the 90 volunteers on a daily basis and the numerous different churches in the community that come together to help provide food, shelter, and support for those in need 365 nights a year. Dowd says the real magic here is the partnerships Hesed House shares with local nonprofits and businesses.
We've got case management, so we can sit down with individuals, help them sort out a plan to get out of here. But then Waubonsie Community College has a full-time job trainer here. Breaking Free has a full-time substance abuse counselor here. AID has a full-time mental health counselor here. The YMCA runs an after-school program here. Aunt Martha's Youth Services is in the process of building a full medical clinic here that'll be open about 35-40 hours a week just for homeless individuals.
For the past 31 years, the doors to the emergency shelter have opened up each night at 7 p.m. Dinner and a mattress to sleep on is provided to anyone who needs it. Hesed House is known as a low-threshold shelter, which means there are as few restrictions as possible to get people in the door.
It is absolutely terrifying to lose your shelter, to have no idea where you're going to find your next meal, and then to walk into the second largest shelter in the state of Illinois and see hundreds of people that you don't know. And so, part of our job is cushioning that blow and helping them realize that, first off, that they will survive the worst day of their life.
Homeless people don't always fit the stereotype, and unfortunately, many are women and single moms. On average, there are 40 children staying at Hesed House each night.
The stereotype of that kind of middle-aged man with a long white beard and an alcohol addiction is actually really, really rare when it comes to homelessness statistically. Statistically, most homeless people could walk down the street and you would have no idea they were homeless. They just don't fit the stereotype at all.
A lot of people have this thinking about homeless people like I did, that you're lazy, you didn't do what you had to do, to keep your home or whatever, and that's not true.
There are people who end up homeless because of drug dependencies, job loss, or medical reasons. But like Ramos, some guests are simply victims of circumstance. She says coming home to her new apartment has never felt better for her and her children.
Or every time we leave and we come back in, they're like, oh, they literally, it's every single time, Ashley. And at the same time, I feel good that they feel that for this place. But I also don't want them to forget where they were at, because I think it helped my kids to be a little stronger too. It really has.
Benny, her kids, and many others at Hesed House have gotten the chance to know Ryan Dowd very well.
I think in order to be doing what he does every day, you have to have a huge heart and you have to love people. And he does love people. He does, because he shows it every single day that he shows up, and he rallies for us, for our rights, you know, and a lot of people don't care, and he does.
Aside from gaining the life skills and independence she needs to live on her own, Benny has learned something just as important.
You have to be able to want to help your fellow man, because you never know when one day you might be in the same situation.
Hesed House will continue to move forward after saying goodbye to Executive Director Ryan Dowd. His next endeavor includes launching a new nonprofit that trains church leaders around the world to be human rights advocates. He says leaving the organization he's helped build doesn't seem real.
It's hard to even fathom. This has been a part of my life for well over half of my life, and so the thing I'll miss the most is really the community of being surrounded by people who want to save the world. That's so cool.
Ryan has already moved his family out to Washington, D.C., where they will wait for his arrival in August. His house has also been sold, so technically he is homeless, but will find shelter at Hesed House for the remainder of the summer. He'll sleep, dine, and relax next to those in whose lives he's made a difference. Reporting from Hesed House, I'm Ashley Vroman for Naperville News Extra.